Hi there, I'm John from CNCROI.com, and today we'll make a moose key holder using Whitewood. I don't know about you, but I keep losing my keys, so I think it was about time that I make something to hold all my keys. In this case here, I just used a piece of scrap Whitewood that I had. It was left over from another job that we did. And as you can see, Whitewood has a lot of details in the grain. If you look at the back of it, you'll get a better idea of it. So it's definitely not the best wood to be using, but what I do like about Whitewood over just about any other wood that I know of is that there's incredibly large changes in material density. And what that does is create free extra detail in my design using the laser. Because you got to remember, the laser doesn't have a two-way feedback system. It's just energy going down. It doesn't know if it's hitting something that's dense, like you can see here, or something that's not dense, as you can see here. So it's basically the same power over the entire surface. If I was doing this out of MDF, it would look rather plain because the engraving would be almost always the same depth, and you wouldn't have all these extra little fine details in the finished product that I think add a lot of value to a finished product. So what we'll do now, we'll take a look at our industrial laser engraving the first pass of this. As luck would have it, I noticed something was kind of weird when I did the first pass of engraving this design here that I made. What I noticed is that if you look at, let's say, just anything, the stuff usually in the foreground is sort of higher up and the stuff in the background is further back. So put another way, if you were to put it like on a 2D plane, the background stuff would be deeper and the stuff in the foreground would be higher up. And if you look at what I just engraved, I actually have it reversed. So there's a quick fix to that, and it's called laser engraving more. So let's do some fixing using our laser to create the element so that the background is in the back and the foreground is in the foreground or in the front. So now you know how this was engraved, and the background looks a little bit darker than the foreground. Now, the problem with whitewood is that it doesn't burn consistently. If you look here, you'll see it's a really nice dark, and I was trying to achieve that as well over here, but as you can see, whitewood is just not a very consistent material, and as a result, sometimes it burns, sometimes it doesn't. And it doesn't matter what you do, it just won't burn. It's just a kind of odd wood to work with. But I knew that going into this project. If I were to do this with a customer, I'd probably use pine. Pine is almost the same as whitewood, weight-wise and density-wise. It's just a lot more consistent. One really nice thing about whitewood is that after you cut something out, you have a lot of debris and dust and stuff on the surface of it. But whitewood is a very, very soft wood, and sanding it is incredibly easy. It's even easier than sanding pine. It just works really, really nice if you want to create some nice contrast. As long as, again, you have the issues with some of it not actually burning or burning consistency. So what we'll do now, we'll take a look at me sanding the surface and making basically what I want white, which adds a lot of extra detail to the item rather than just engraving the whole thing. It creates a lot of contrast that makes it stand out, as you can see. Now this is a key holder, and it does have nails in it, and that's why, as you can see here. And you want nails because they pop out a little bit like this, so it actually holds the key in. So the nails don't have to be totally straight or at an angle. It'll hold them as long as it stays on the wall that's relatively flat. Now, where to get rusty nails? I got that from the palette that I made this project from. So that's why whenever I do palette work, I like to keep the nails because you can reuse them so many times for different projects. Actually making nails rusty is quite a process. I find it more efficient just to grab a palette and cut the nails to size. In this case here, the nails were roughly this long here, and I needed them to be this much. So I just got the grinder out and I grinded off half the surface of it. And then what I did is I just drilled a hole so that when I tapped the nail in, it was snug, but not so snug that it would actually split the whitewood. Because whitewood is very brittle. It will just separate on its own whenever you do a lot of woodwork with it. there you have it. That's how I made this wonderful key holder that is really unique, and I've never seen anything like this, which makes it perfect for here in the shop. Now if you're looking for other materials, I could have made this thing out of corian, I could have made it out of mahogany, I could have made it out of cedar, I could have made it out of literally any material. Even if you wanted something like this out of cement, we can make it. Now they all have different results regarding the engraving. Corian is really nice, so if you wanted this to be paint filled, for instance, corian would be a great option for that. For wood, I don't like paint filling it too much. I prefer just to let the wood speak for itself. And as you can see on the surface of it, it's got really nice texture to it, and it just happens that the wood has the grain going up and down, but also up and down specifically where the big trees are. So that was total coincidence, and I really like the result that I have. Now regarding the depth, if you notice, it goes down up to 1/2 centimeter in some areas. So it's something to be careful about with the laser, because I am burning the material, and you create some charcoal, but during that process sometimes you actually end up with a fire. So again, it's just experience and time, and taking your time to make a good job for something like this. The advantage of using a laser to do this kind of stuff over a router is that it's a non-contact method. A lot of these smaller details would be really hard to do on Whitewood using a CNC router, because you get a lot of chip out. Now the nice thing about using a laser is that it's repeatable. So let's say you had about 50 of these things you wanted, each personalized with a name, let's say for a wedding or anniversary or whatever application you want, we can make that as well. And each one could be different. Let's say you have an office and some people like giraffes, some people like owls, some people like, whatever animal. Each one of the 50 could be a different animal. And that's something we can help you design-wise at CNCRI.com. So there's infinite options when it comes to us. So if you have anything custom in mind, contact me at CNCRI.com.